Hi everyone, so I'm sitting here today with Gavin Thorne, who joined us how long ago?
End of January.
End of January. So I thought it was a good opportunity for me to sit down, actually with Gavin's suggestion, to have a bit of a chat and a back and forth as to his journey, how it started, how he came to find us, what's happened since he joined us, the support that he's received from the team, just a bit of a general chit chat. I'm going to ask some questions and we'll take it from there. So,
perfect.
Gavin, tell us a little bit about your kind of story before you joined us. I know you're in property. Mm-hmm. I know you probably dabbled a little bit with digital marketing.
Yeah, dabbled quite a bit.
Okay. So tell us a bit about how that worked and what was working, what wasn't working, and just a bit of background.
Okay. I think, like a lot of people, I was looking for something which I hadn't sort of found, obviously.
Yeah.
And I'd bought a few courses, and this is over many years.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Digital marketing course.
No, a variety. I was always trying to find that right thing.
That make money online thing? Or
well, no, to really have a more flexible lifestyle. That's
okay.
really what I wanted. But I never found anything, so I had to keep going back into either property or full-time employment because it never worked enough.
What job were you doing?
So my long-term history has been IT sales, security sales.
Okay.
Then latterly I moved into running businesses, being a sales director for people. Always business development, sales, marketing.
Like running a team.
Yep.
Type thing. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what that's what I was doing. But just prior to meeting you on Facebook with one of your ads, I was doing a retainer model. Strangely enough, local clients. Okay. So I was giving away 2 weeks of a trial.
Okay.
And
for free. For
free.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I bought into another course, and that's what was advocated. Yeah. Interestingly, and I think it probably worked better because it was in America, and I think maybe the appetite, demographics and stuff worked better over there than it did in the UK. I don't know. Yeah. Perhaps it just wasn't for me, but I literally traded a job for a job. Yeah. So I was still putting in the hours, which I didn't mind, but I wasn't earning enough to really warrant doing it. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of like I hadn't gained anything. So
what type of businesses and what were you doing for them?
Oh, it's a whole range. There was no speciality. It was
everything.
Yeah, bit of everything from a national netball association to local company that teaches kids how to code and build apps and stuff. Really good stuff. Yeah. But incredibly hard to do.
Hard work. So I guess you're doing a bit of landing page, maybe a bit of SEO, some AdWords, a bit of Facebook. Bit of conversion, page optimization, funnels, like a bit of everything.
But what was really interesting is that you kind of, whatever you do is almost kind of never enough because you're on a retainer. So say, you agree that you've got to deliver 50 leads. Yeah. So you deliver 55 leads. Yeah. And you still get paid the same. Yeah, exactly. Or if you deliver 45, you're the worst thing that's ever been put on this earth. And it's kind of like, people had that mentality that I don't know what it was, that you were going to fail. It was almost because you're giving them something for free to begin with, I think. Yeah. It was always that, why would you do that if your business is so good?
How much were you charging as a retainer?
1,500 average on a month.
1,500
pounds. So and you get a few clients. It's not bad money, but it's just salary money. But you're not getting any benefit for being an employee. So if you want to take holidays.
Was the churn rate quite high? Were they leaving you?
Yeah, you'd go through like 2-3 months. But half of the problem was because I was using Facebook ads, the demographic and the audiences were small, so you'd rinse through them. Yeah. And you're kind of gone. So
once you've got the first 50 leads or so, then you can't get another 50.
That's it.
You can't the offer or the.
Yeah, but even still, you're kind of still aiming for the same people, or it seemed to be. Yeah. So the offers could get, but the only thing you could do is pause it for like a quarter and then do it again. So it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't really ideal. No way. So people expect a lot. So I was looking for something, and then I came across your ad on Facebook, and something resonated. And I think it was a scalability It was doing something once, doing it well, showing really good value, and then scaling it up.
Yeah.
Finding a second person who wants the same
type of lead,
same
same
type of
industry.
lead. Yep. Yeah. And then put a third one in.
Yeah.
And that was what really sort of hooked me into thinking differently.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the most important thing, was thinking differently.
Change of mindset.
Yeah, because there's a kind of, even though I'm an entrepreneur, and I don't, but I did, I end up having a herd mentality. So this is what you do, you join a group and off you go, and you all go down that road, and you don't actually think for yourself. But this gave me a chance to sort of think that I could do it differently and hopefully better.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that was it really. And I think, having spoken to quite a lot of guys like myself, people are looking for something where they can really excel and be properly entrepreneurial.
Yep.
And the retainer model doesn't give you that. Well, it certainly didn't for me.
Yeah. Well, I think the retainer model, let's not knock it. It's got a lot of, it's got you to the point where you're at now. It's got me to the point where I'm at now. And there's also people that are doing very well out of the retainer model. But usually what you find with those guys is that they do the circuits. They're kind of mini celebrities in the digital marketing space. They've written a book on whatever. Yeah. So they've got that kind of celebrity value, which allows them to be able to charge, $5K a month or whatever it is. And if you can do that, and you're very good at what you do, then I think you can make it work. But the problem was, when I was doing this old method, I didn't have that celebrity value, and I couldn't really charge more than a couple of grand a month per client. And if I did land that client that I was paying that amount, they were my number one priority. I was their number one priority. They were investing, their entire budget.
Huge focus, wasn't it?
Yeah, on
one thing.
On me, and it was like they wanted me. They were emailing, calling. They wanted me every second of the day. And it's just not a sustainable model. It's just so hard to do, and it was just a bit of a nightmare, really. I was...
Did you get a sort of feeling that they sort of owned you?
Yeah, they owned you a little bit, and it's just hard work. Like, it's not meant to be that hard of work. It's easier to get a job.
Yeah, it's hard work isn't the problem. I didn't think it's the imbalance of, it wasn't kind of like a partnership.
No.
It was very much like they owned you kind of thing. Yeah. And because it's their smaller business, it's their everything. Yeah. And so they expect you to be
Well, they're investing.
Exactly.
I think of myself as a small business, because we are. Let's face it, we're all small businesses compared to, Amazon and stuff like that. So we're tiny, and when you have spare, 10 grand or whatever to invest in marketing or whatever, then that is your hard-earned money that you could be taking home and putting in your back pocket and putting your kids through education or something. And if you're putting that into a marketing company, that is, you need to make that work. You don't want that money to go elsewhere. So it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig, definitely. So tell me what happened. You kind of immediately after you joined, and how did you choose? What industry did you choose to start with? I seem to remember you going into something a little bit different.
Yeah.
It didn't work for you.
No.
And I remember thinking, oh shit, Gavin's struggling after one of the calls.
Yeah.
I'm a bit worried about him. What can we do to help him? And I don't know whether I got back to you or whatever. I think I messaged you on Facebook and said, is there anything we can do to help? And I'm interested to hear what happened with the equity release market, why it didn't work, and how you chose your next industry. Because a lot of people that come into my program are, it's not always a home run with the first industry. And like anything in life, you have to show a bit of resilience, and you have to be able to take a few hits, because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. And lead generation and getting paid on a per lead basis is, in my opinion, an infinitely better model, but it's still tough at times. And it still takes a lot of hard work and effort, and you have to take the knocks. So tell me a bit about what happened and how you moved on to the next.
I think it's interesting.
Industry.
I think it's interesting what you say, is because I think a lot of people buy a course and think that's it.
Yeah.
Bought the course, so it's all going to be nice and successful. and it isn't. It takes hard work. The reason I went into equity release to begin with, because I've got a property business.
Yes.
I rent out
Know
properties.
the market.
Yes, yeah. But what didn't work for me was I just couldn't relate to it. I didn't believe in it, because I thought, and I know people are doing really well in it, and that's super cool, and we've all got to do certain things differently. But equity release can be done virtually anywhere. It's very competitive, and I just didn't buy into it. I thought I should, but I genuinely looked at it in the mirror and I didn't. And I thought, well, what do I really buy into? What have I done that I found quite easy to do from a prospect, from a leads point of view? And I've been through things like PPI, and I found that quite palatable. I understand why people would apply for that type of a thing. And so I plucked personal injury out of a list that I put together of things, and went after, pursued that quite aggressively.
Nice.
Fortunately, luckily, I came across my first client very quickly after that. They were in the right position. So we had a really good chat. We worked through what they weren't getting from their existing supplier to what they really wanted, which is fine. I could deliver that really easily. I thought at the time. I hadn't done it, but I can now. And we put the leads up 50%. So they're paying 25. We took them up to 37. 37 per lead. Yeah, per lead, because we were offering something different, and that was our very first one. Since then, that company had 14 employees when I met them, and they were churning through loads of leads in the old way. Since then, they're now up to 21 employees, and they're still aggressively expanding because of the quality of the leads that we're selling into them. So they can't keep up. And in fact, last week he came back to me. So we don't do contracts. We do every Friday we invoice. Friday we get paid. Absolutely strange that.
No contracts.
No contracts. And guess what? Because he's growing so aggressively and so well, he's seeking investment, and he's asked me for a contract.
Really?
Yeah. Really? Because he said, look, if I'm going for investment,
you need to stick with me.
Yeah, where are you going to get?
Heavily reliant.
Heavily reliant. So he's we've already verbally agreed, and we are doing so, that he has all of my a certain type of personal injury lead exclusive to him.
Nice.
But I've obviously put on the back of that, he's got to give minimum orders. Okay. So we just sort of like, we've been growing together, and it's been a great partnership. But it's funny how it's turned around from me ordinarily saying, look, you know, you need a contract or a monthly retainer, for him to come back and go, no, I need it from you. Otherwise, that
happens. That happened to me as well.
Cool.
I'll talk to you about that in a bit. But tell me I'm interested in how you landed this client.
So
did you use the templates in our course? Did you use LinkedIn? No problems if you didn't.
No, I did.
You did LinkedIn and the direct mail templates.
Yeah. Yes and no. Well, the direct mail templates I used quite extensively for the equity release stuff. And that didn't work. So, but I believe it could work. And I've started to do that again back in personal injury. But it was through LinkedIn. So my LinkedIn profile when we met was a CV online. You know, what did you do back in the day? So that all got changed. So I used your idea of a template for that. So I just changed it totally to be
made it niche specific.
Personal injury specific, totally. Used the template that you had and jiggered it around a teeny bit. Put a better profile picture up, changed a few things. Then went out and used some auto connecting software to meet people. And one of the guys, I just followed up with loads of guys, and one guy just hit at the right time. And we had a call on the Wednesday and invoiced him on the Friday.
Really?
Well, I invoiced him 3 times on the Friday because I was using a new bit of software that was really smart. It's a proposal software, and they can auto sign it electronically, and then the pay thing comes straight up. Sounds so simple. Ballsed it up 3 times.
3 times,
and he
3 times.
And he still came through and still did it. So talk about trying to make it hard for clients to sign on with you. But so it took 2 days.
Interesting.
Because he was so keen to grow his business, but he had so many, not bad leads, but he had the traditional leads where he bought them monthly, and he bought like 2,000, and they came in chunks of 50.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
so they weren't real time.
No, they was a real time live. We send them straight through to his email at whatever time they come through, and And yeah, it's just it's taking him to a different place altogether.
Nice.
Yeah,
Good
it's really good.
What was I going to ask? So you landed the client, you spoke to him on Wednesday and you invoiced him on Friday. Had you built any funnels at this point? No funnels?
Nothing. I hadn't,
So you'd never generated a lead in personal injury before?
Never.
Not one?
No.
Not one?
No, see, what I did was I listened to a bloke who did a course called Dan, and so I secured the client because there's a full money back guarantee. So if it didn't work, then he is covered. So it's ethical.
Yeah.
But I believed, and I think that's one of the biggest things that I took from the course. There's brilliant elements to it.
Yeah.
Top of the elements was, I think, the weekly mentoring.
Yep.
Is unbelievable. But the Facebook course from scratch to Ninja's brilliant.
Yeah.
To have the LinkedIn training is great.
Yeah.
But the most important thing was the mindset.
Yeah.
It was taking me from just having a course, with a Facebook group, which is super cool, brilliant, to actually going, look, it's week 2, get your first client.
Yeah.
So, but you can't do that because I haven't built a website, I haven't built my funnels, I haven't set up my campaigns in Facebook, I haven't done all this. But how can you do that? Because you build it and they will come.
Yes.
But
that's my saying.
Yeah.
Build it and they will come.
Yeah. And so I just found the client, and then it was like, right, heck. Now we're having to start. So I said to him, look, realistically, we haven't got a campaign set up, because they're unique to you.
Yeah.
So you have to give us a week to do that.
Nice.
So we built in expectations for him.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like,
and you made him feel special as well because you were building a bespoke campaign for them.
Yeah. So we found out his perfect avatar. We went through defining qualification questions for him.
Yeah.
So we've wrapped that all up in what we do. And I mean, he couldn't be more delighted.
Nice. And
then we just repeat that for everyone.
Yeah.
Just rinse and repeat.
Wow, that's crazy. So I'm not going to ask figures because I think that's personal, but if you're looking at a multiplier of what you were making as the old agency model versus pay-per-lead multiplier, roughly how much more are you?
10.
10 times?
Yeah.
10 times within how many months?
We're up to 5.5.
5.5 months.
Yeah.
No, that's incredible.
Before I did, I had a chat with you about the course and whether it was right for me and whether you were right for me and stuff. I had a figure in mind of what I wanted to do on a monthly basis, turnover.
Yeah.
And that number isn't insignificant, and that'll be hit in August.
In August.
So that'll be 7 months from 0 to that figure I wanted.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say you were an experienced Facebook guy or ads guy at that point in time.
No.
In fact, it was almost like a bit of you've obviously got business acumen and you know how to do sales and speak to people and close people, which is obviously important, but I think it was pretty much a blank canvas.
Yeah, I mean, that's my speciality, if I have one, is new business.
Talking to people, new business,
And then account management thereafter, relationships. I had done Facebook ads, stuff, but it just wasn't me. It's just not natural. And when I did go through the whole course, and I learned tons.
Yeah.
So there's some couple of little really bits of magic in there that nobody really uses, that really have helped us enormously get to where we are. So
awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah. So it's
nice one.
Perfect.
And what do you see yourself doing in the future? Are you looking to go deeper into this one vertical?
Yeah.
Or are you looking to branch into new verticals?
Well, yes and yes.
Or a niche within a niche,
perhaps? Well, yeah. So the personal injury space, which is where I operate, is huge.
Yeah.
And not just the amount of volumes. If you look on Google, for example, and you put in personal injury claim, which is obviously very generic, you'll find the top 5 no win, no fee solicitors spend £500,000 a month advertising.
I can believe that.
Yeah. So that just gives you an idea of how big the market is, and that's not with even putting in a specific type of personal injury.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's huge. So yeah, absolutely. We've got 2 sub niches within that niche which we're killing.
Yeah.
But we're having people coming to us saying, look, could you do this for us? Can you do that for us? So we've tried a couple of things. We've got our first US client, which we're doing.
10 times the population in the US, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Oh, maybe not that.
No, it's not 10 times, but
5 times.
But where they are, it's very concentrated. So it's a compelling thing for us. So it's super cool. So we're branching out.
Yeah.
People are coming to us and saying, look, you know, we hear you're doing good things. Can you do other
Yeah.
good things? We're turning some work away, quite a lot of work away, because I don't believe in it. It might work for other people,
Yeah.
super cool, but for us, we've got to believe in it
Yeah.
to really
Yeah.
go for it. So yeah, absolutely. The answer to your question is drilling a lot further down into personal injury.
Yeah. Okay, that's smart actually. I think that's one thing that I've noticed over the years is when you start getting results for a client and they become super happy, they start referring to their friends. And usually if it's like a solicitor or someone that's in personal injury or equivalent, they have like amazing contacts.
Yeah, and
they
network.
also have other very successful friends that are in similar verticals that need help. Okay, so you sometimes landing that one client will give you clients for the next 3 years, which is incredible. And the second thing is once you have a funnel that works and converts and history in that vertical, you can use it to enter other industries in different countries.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's easy enough to land a client. And this is my kind of catchphrase when I say to people when they're coming into my course, you're never going to have a trouble landing a client. In fact, every student that has ever come into Flexxable has landed a client, every single one of them. And that's because the offer is so strong. It is, would you like 100 leads? And it sounds so obvious, but no one really does it.
No.
And there's no sales skills required because they will either say yes or no. It's not like a negotiation after that point.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I'm interested. Let's give it a go. 100 leads, no problems. Doesn't work. I've risked very little. So getting clients is.
Yeah, I mean, one thing you're absolutely right. One thing I'd say even more so than that is we then targeted clients that are already buying leads.
Yes.
So we avoid clients that don't already buy leads. We were approached by one for remortgaging, and they'd always got referrals, which we know what referrals are like. They're brilliant, and they convert.
They're the best, right?
Yeah. But they then wanted to go and buy leads, and it's like, well, this is a big
jump,
leap step.
big
Yeah.
change.
So suddenly you've got to train your staff into being, you know, a lot more lead gen savvy. So that means
call centers, all that kind of stuff.
just follow up.
Follow up.
You're gonna. And so what we realised there was our leads are going to look not so good because their sales team isn't set up
to referrals that convert at 50% or so.
even higher than that. Yeah. And so these guys, so lead gen is, you know, it's sometimes you can't get hold of people for 5 times, but you got to keep trying.
Keep trying, exactly.
And so we thought, this is not going to go well. It could have done, but we didn't want that. But once you speak to someone who buys leads, and how many are you buying? Buy 1,000 a month, a week or whatever. Well, just try us for 100. It's so easy because it's like they're used to it. So you don't have to reinvent anything. It's just there, and you just basically saying, just try me.
And I think that's a big thing that some new students that come into my program that don't fully understand how it works. I always say that you have to kiss a lot of frogs to find that type of person, right? Because they might reach out to, 40 mortgage brokers, and they'll have 10 of them that will say, I want to buy some leads, but they're usually someone that can't handle more than 50 leads a week or whatever. And it's hard to build a scalable model on that. But number 41 that you reach out to could be this guy that's got a team of 28 people in a sales center that is experienced buying web leads or Facebook leads for the mortgage space.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you're off to the races.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
It is easy to get clients. It's a little bit harder to get those, the big boys, which will make a difference. And I think, you might have got lucky if you, hit that gold mine within a short amount of time. But
I think there's a certain amount of luck. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there isn't, but I think now I'm sort of further down the line, more experienced within the area.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Because the industry, is so hungry for leads.
Yeah.
That they get them from somewhere.
They've got it, right?
Yeah. And so if you're competing with someone, that's a lead bank provider, you're going to win every day.
A more personalised service.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me, you've grown a business here within 6 months that, for most people listening, is at a pretty eye-watering amount of income.
Yeah.
How many people have you got in your team? How big is your business? And what percentage turnover to profit ratio have you got? Because everyone can talk about having a large turnover, but tell me a bit about the size of your team and what. Again, I'm not going to ask for figures of actual monetary numbers, but what percentage is kind of profit?
Yeah. Okay. So because I'm still within the first 6 months, I've got a home office.
Yep.
So my expenses from a GP point of view are lower at the moment than they're going to be.
Yeah.
I've got 2 people in my team.
Local or
remote?
Remote.
Who are subbing in.
Where do you find them?
From one in the group.
Nice. Interesting.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of cross-pollination going on.
Yeah, and it works really well.
Does it?
Yeah, so that's super cool. And because of only having like 4 clients, and soon to be 5, there's not that much to do. But it sounds a bit complacent, but there's only so much to do. If you've got 50, there's more to do.
Yeah.
And so because we're doing the same leads for 3 of them,
yes,
we've got campaigns, we've got the engine built, we've got everything, so we can deliver round robin leads in a very automated fashion.
So you've got one advertising account, one landing page, delivering through to 3 clients from that one funnel.
Yeah, but there's more than one landing page because it's stuff. But
So you've got one advertising account servicing 3 clients, pretty much.
Yeah. And we could that same one could have, because of the volume of leads that we could get.
Could be 10.
Yeah, could be 10. And that's what we want to get to. So so it's it's just scalability. So you're scaling. So what I want to do is I need to have people, I think, around me to have more of a structured organisation. So at the minute, you asked what the GP figure is. It's 73% at the moment.
Gross profit.
Gross profit after
ad spend. So you put your ad spend in.
Yep.
Let's say you're spending £10,000 a month on leads.
Yep.
No, let's say you're generating £10,000 a month's worth of income.
Yep.
2,300 of that is ad spend.
Yeah.
And the rest is gross profit.
Well, no, it's ad spend and subscriptions to any bits of software I need and the total cost of running the business. But there's no offices.
There's no offices.
And there's no salaries at the minute, so they invoice me rather than me paying a salary. So it's probably the best it's ever going to be.
Yeah, I think it will be 73%.
It's huge,
is just crazy.
But what I appreciate that. But what I've been doing is looking at the value that the leads give the client, and then proportionately charging slightly more.
Okay.
So each new client
up a little bit.
Yeah. So each new client, because when you get the feedback of these leads are like magic.
Gold dust.
Yeah. They shouldn't just be 50% more than ones that aren't gold dust.
Yeah.
And they're making good money out of them, so everyone's winning.
Yeah.
But when you start off, you kind of you need your clients.
Yeah.
So you kind of do your thing, even though you put their price up 50%.
Yeah.
Probably should have done it,
a while ago.
Yeah. So, but that's all part of learning. So it will stay. I factored in what forecasting what an office would be, staff would be.
Yeah.
3 staff. It will still be around about 50%.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
GP.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me how you figured out. This is another question a lot of people ask me: how much to charge your customer? So when you landed that first guy, what was the conversation like, and how did you figure out how much to charge him?
Okay. Well, he was quite open and told me how much he was currently paying.
Okay.
So we had a base
25
price.
per lead, was it?
Yeah.
He was paying that, okay.
But he was not having these qualification questions asked anywhere in the process. So he was having leads which were not as good as he wanted, but the best he could find, which is really interesting.
Wow.
And so because of my first one, I thought, we can't change. Well, I could have said we'll just charge the same.
Yeah.
But I thought, no, we've got to show value.
Yeah.
So I put it up 50% of what he was currently paying. But now, that's your first client, so you learn.
Yeah.
But the next client in the same sub niche, we're charging 55, so 37 to 55. For other ones where there's less volume in the market, we're charging 75. And we're also looking there is also a gap in the market to have half pre-packaged leads.
Yeah, okay.
So that's where, you get the lead in, we don't touch these leads, they just go straight through.
At the moment, they go straight through to their call center.
Yeah, or straight through to their email, whichever.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're talking about perhaps having it somewhere that sits in between
Yeah.
those two, packaging like and charging a premium
Absolutely.
for a package case.
Yeah, so you get hold of the client, you qualify the questions that so you get hold of the prospect, you ask the client questions that are needed, and then you package that up to the client for, if you're selling
Five times the amount. 10 times maybe.
Yeah, no, probably five. But
times.
yeah, so it would be, rather than a £75 uncontacted lead, which is of great value to them anyway, it would be a £250 lead where you've made the calls, got the qualification and pass it through. So that's the next thing, to have a little sort of call centre. There's more overheads with regards to, for me, there's to deal with claims management.
Maybe some headaches. But
maybe more profit. We're also have been approached for a back-end revenue share. So we've all been talking about front-end sales, which is great because it's immediate, money and everyone's happy. But we've also been approached by, let's perhaps not spend, this is existing customers, let's not spend money at the front or just cover the ad costs. But then there's 30% at the back end.
And how quickly do they turn around these cases?
About 2 years.
2 years.
But they're worth, rather than sort of £75, they're worth like about £9,000.
In 2 years' time.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that.
It's a long time to wait.
It is, but if you did all of it, it would be a bad model. But if you do a small fraction, which we're just about to, it's, let's see what happens in a couple of years.
You'd want to have some good solicitor look at that contract.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And it can be quicker, but when you're talking of big payouts, it just takes that time for...
That's what happened to us. We were talking before about contracts and them asking you for a contract. Same thing happened to me about 2 years ago. And what happened is they said, we want you to be exclusive to us. We'd been supplying them leads, I think on a cost per lead basis up until that point. And they said, okay, we want you and just you. How about we pay you six figures? We'll deposit it in your bank account as soon as you sign this contract.
Right.
And you can draw down on that 6 figures off the back end over the next year or however long it took. And at that point, I think I was a couple of years in being a lead generator, and I just remember thinking, this is just incredible. Like this doesn't happen really. Like at that point in time, I kind of knew that selling leads and the power that you have and the ability to offer so much value to these businesses, and because leads are the lifeblood of any business like the ones we're talking about here. So, and they're never going to have the skills to be able to do it themselves. It's just a brilliant industry. So.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. And the ones that think they have the skills internally, and they've got internal digital marketing departments and the marketing directors and all this expenditure, are still wasting so much money. Yeah, they're not got it. But that's what you should do until they know another way, and then they realise that they should be doing it maybe a different way. But it's all, for me, it's all about the value, because we're not just jumping on a bandwagon of lead generation that everyone else is doing. Ours is red, theirs is yellow. Come with us. It's absolutely just a game changer. It's not even in the same ballpark. The only two words are the same as lead generation. That's it, and the rest is so different. Who gives a text, an immediate text on sign up when they consent to being contacted? Not many people.
Not many people do that.
Now, how many people authenticate email?
Email and phone numbers. And
all that on the fly, and then send the lead through live.
Yes, cool.
Yeah.
What else was I going to ask? Oh, tell me a bit about how everyone's talking about Facebook getting more expensive, the algorithm's changing. Zuckerberg is on his way out. Facebook are going to go bankrupt.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I don't know about bankrupt, but tell me how you're dealing with the changes that are happening in Facebook, and if you've seen your cost per leads go up, if you've been struggling at all, what you've done to compensate for that.
Yeah, well, it's really funny, isn't it? It's a very timely question, because yesterday there was an outage for 3 hours where there's no images being displayed, but guess what? We'll be able to be charged for it.
Yes.
So I think it's like, I remember the day years ago when Google ads were to pounds to the penny. They were cheap as chips. And then it all changed, literally overnight, and things moved on dramatically. I think two things will happen with Facebook. Absolutely, the price will fluctuate. north.
Yeah.
But also, I believe that they're like any major corporate, like the Amazon. They want to
profitable.
Yeah,
Company needs to make profit.
Yeah, they want to wheedle out the not so good advertisers and promote the good advertisers. So whether you're on selling stuff on Amazon or you're advertising on Facebook, if you've got pedigree and you're doing things right, you've never had any problems, I believe they'll start looking after our type of a customer more than the ones that come in. The booster page stuff. $20. You might as well just burn the $20.
Easy money for Facebook.
Yeah, but no returns for the person spending the $20.
Yeah.
So so I believe that there'll be a balancing act. But what we've always got to think about is that the Facebook isn't the only place. We generate leads off Facebook.
Yeah.
So you said earlier on, did you have your own website? When we first started, not at all. And in fact, only last week but one, we put up our first.
Or your agency website?
Oh no, sorry, I had an agency website, but
a lead generation website.
Yeah, a lead generation website.
Okay.
So we're now, so we've gone live with that. We've done SEO stuff. So that's going to be a lead magnet as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So we've got some
you
other
can
plans.
use that to show potential prospects.
Yeah.
Brands.
But we could also drive leads from other sources there.
Yeah. Okay.
So all I'm saying is that Facebook is fantastic. It's enormous, and if you only have them as your single source of leads, it's a huge vulnerability. So we started spreading stuff around. So low hanging fruit on Google, for example. Third party places like Gumtree.
Interesting.
Places where people for my sector, the personal injury sector, pop up. They pop up on eBay. They pop up. Elsewhere. So YouTube, you know about YouTube. So we don't have to just totally rely on one platform.
Yeah, I think that's smart. I mean, I don't think Facebook's going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's still our primary place to generate leads.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Facebook's changed my life, but it is getting a little bit more challenging. But it just means that we've got to get better.
Yeah, and also the other thing, yes, absolutely. But what happens is it's the food chain, isn't it? So if your leads cost more, then you're going to have to sell them for more. The hardest thing is when you've got an existing client like you've had for maybe years, and it's an established price. And suddenly it's like, oh, guess what, guys? It's gone up 20%. Oh, no worries, fine, brilliant. That's the biggest change. But for us, when we're taking on new clients, when I go and speak to a new client about a lead that costs £75, they don't know any different, because that's what it is. So we're quite lucky in that way that if you can find new clients, you can invent the price because you're still offering great value. Yeah. I mean, the other thing we've all got to be aware of is if we're not making profit, we're not going to be around.
Yeah, that's right.
So we have to be responsible for our own business to make the profit so we can be around.
Yeah. Tell me about. I remember when I started generating leads in an industry where I was getting paid a significant amount per lead, and you start seeing these leads coming in for 1/10 of what you're getting paid. Tell me what that was like the first time when you started doing some significant volumes, and can you remember what that feeling?
It wasn't long ago.
It wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't that long ago. Yeah. So
what happened?
So our first one, it was we must have fallen on our feet because our ad spend to the price we were selling at was we're making a clear £25. £25
per lead.
Minimum
Per lead.
Yeah, minimum. So obviously it fluctuates. This is an absolute minimum. So for us, and bear in mind it's only
37.50 leads. So you're generating them for £12.50, selling them for 35. And you can do that at scale as well. At scale.
Yeah. In fact, the hardest ones to do, when we've ever run pilots and they only want, say, 30 or 50, which you don't really want to do, but we'll do because, we can do it.
The upside's so big.
Yeah, but it's really hard just delivering 30 or 50. It's really, really hard. So what I always say is that, if we would aim to do 30, but, if we deliver 50, we'll want to be charged for that. But we won't know that till it happens. So, the higher numbers for us are, we're not into the thousands per day arena. And I don't think we ever will. So we're pitching ourselves more. To do a 6-figure monthly turnover, we have to do less than 2,500 leads per month.
Yeah.
Because of the price which
Price of the leads.
yeah, which we can sell at, what we can do Facebook for, and what those leads are worth to our clients.
Yeah,
that's the beauty of it.
That's the other thing. I mean, let's say you become a six-figure turnover, well, six-figure profit business. Okay.
Or per month.
Per month. Yeah. Let's say that happens.
Well, let's say it will happen.
Well, it's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
How much value do you think you're giving to the client? Like,
oh, huge. So
is it 10 times? Is it 5 times?
Yeah, no. So bear in mind, there's sort of two clients, aren't there? So our lead isn't our client, but they're the one that ultimately benefits. So if they've had a situation where they've needs to get redress on a situation they've had, a medical situation or whatever. Yeah. So they're a client. So they have a family. They may have had bad advice. They may have had a problem. Yeah. Although we don't ever deal with those. Our client obviously is either the claims management or the solicitor. Yeah. They will take our lead, depending on which type it is. If we just say an average lead, they will get, if we sell it for say £75, the solicitor will get somewhere in the region of about £15,000.
Wow. And what percentage convert, do you think?
One in, actually to go through.
So let's say you do 100 leads, how many of them will turn into a paid case for the solicitor?
At the moment, we're on about 20%.
20%?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we filter out so many people at the beginning. Yeah. So for example, we do motorcycle accident cases. Yeah. We ask if they've got a third-party witness. Yeah. Okay. And if they don't have a third-party witness, then they don't come through our funnel. Yeah. So they have a lot of what's needed. So to filter out is the key to all of it. So when the client gets what's hardest thing is getting hold of them. So that's why we've introduced things like that. The client can, the lead can make an appointment live for any time in the future because it connects with the client's calendar to make the contact. As soon as they can get hold of the contact, there's a very, very high chance that they're going to be able to convert that person because it's not a bulk lead.
Get them on the phone, right? And that's what they're good at.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really high.
We haven't touched on kind of the funnels, and I don't want you to give away the trade secrets, but one of the big things that we teach within the program is segmentation via quizzes. So we're not in the car finance industry, but I always use this as an example. If someone comes into the funnel and is looking for a high-end BMW and they're a homeowner and they've employed on a high salary, then they're a completely different kind of lead than someone who is looking for a banger, doesn't have a car to trade in, and
adverse credit.
It's adverse credit.
Yeah.
But the beauty is that sometimes, in both cases, those leads can be sold to different companies. Yep. Based on the answers they put in through that funnel.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they can be, and sometimes you would think that the lower end of the market is not as valuable as the higher end of the market, but adverse credit car finance, sometimes the fees are bigger for those type of leads. Have you experienced something like that? And what do you use? How do you segment? What tools do you use? I know the answer to this, but I'd like to hear what your experience is and how that works and how it's worked for you.
Yeah. So obviously in personal injury, it's slightly different, but one of the segmentations that we can do very easily, we use quiz software. So we go straight from ad to quiz software or a landing page with quiz software. We use something called Leads Hook, which is mind-blowing bit of software, so flexible. The things you can't do with it are incredible. So we've incorporated that in part of our engine that we use, and it's phenomenal. So for example, with personal injury, England and Wales have a different law to Scotland. So one of the segmentations that we do is we pass people through the funnel, and are you based in England, or did it happen in England, Wales or Scotland? So we can, as a very high level segmentation, pass those ones over to the Scottish
different people
straight
away.
And that could be anything. And then we've got things like were you hospitalised? Was it over a week or whatever we can give value to our clients, whatever they see as better value, we can segment it out and pass it straight through. So it absolutely, you really got to think, well, I didn't at the beginning of what I needed to segment until I learned what the clients wanted us to segment. And whatever they want, they can pretty much have because it's
Yeah,
It's so flexible.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can just sell, different leads of different value to different people because,
Yeah. And that's kind of the beauty of lead generation as well, as opposed to when you were running it as an agency. You kind of, not many people go or need to go into that level of detail. Like they'll run a funnel and they'll send all of the traffic to a landing page where they'll people get to put their name, email address, and phone number in.
Yep.
And then all of those leads will go to that client. And then the client goes, well, hang on a sec. Like most of these leads aren't relevant to what I'm trying to do. Therefore, you suck.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in going with you guys for any longer. And you lose the client.
Yeah.
But when you do things our way, you're able to make the most out of every bit of traffic that comes in to the funnel. And at that point in time, it is just a matter of finding the right clients to fit the criteria of the lead. And I suspect that if you're doing this amount of volume and you're segmenting, there's probably some wastage which don't fit with anyone at the moment.
Yeah.
But there's probably a home for them somewhere if you think about it enough. Or you could perhaps, I don't know what the laws are with personal injury or whatever, but you could perhaps put them into an email autoresponder sequence, which might be able to help them with other things that they're struggling with.
You're absolutely right, and we do. And this is what we're looking at, is to help them crossover. So people who have had a personal injury, sometimes it's a life changer. And if it's over 3 years, they can't really be helped.
Over 3 years, they can't be helped for a claim, but there might be something else.
Oh, absolutely. And so quite a lot of them generally fall on hard times.
Yes.
Or potentially could.
Yeah.
So we can offer them advice on, or not we, but we can point them in the direction of advice for consolidation of loans, for help with adverse credit.
Or some life insurance or something like that.
Yeah, so everyone could be helped.
Yes.
It may not be exactly in the funnel that we started putting them in.
Or immediately.
So, but we've captured everyone in autoresponders.
Anyway, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, definitely. And what we do for clients, it depends how most clients are set up really well. So as soon as they get the lead through, they phone. If they can't get through, they then send an email, text, whatever. But on their behalf, we can send automated texts.
Yep.
We've also just about to launch a chatbot, which goes into their Messenger, Facebook Messenger.
Yep.
So we can directly remind them that they haven't spoken to the client yet.
Nice.
So that it's a passive aggressive, quite a good way of helping them. Yeah, helping them, remind them that they did want to do it, but now life's taken over and they're a bit too busy to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And they still need to do it. And all this value, with the technology that's out there, and it's just it's everyday stuff that you can really move lead generation into a completely different world. Yeah,
we're at a special time, right?
Yeah.
There's never been an opportunity where you have something like, we're very lucky, something like Facebook with their targeting options and their segmentation and their algorithms. A lot of the times we run our campaigns for a specific industry like personal injury, and we don't even have to do any targeting because the pixel will find those type of leads for you without any targeting whatsoever.
Yep.
And not only that, once that lead comes in, then you have all of this amazing software like LeadsHook, which allows you to segment and sell at different prices. And it's just been there's never been a time like it. So we're very lucky. And I think anyone with half a brain that has got a work ethic and a bit of resilience can make lead generation on a cost per lead basis.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
Find the right niche, find that right client, and you're off to the races. And you'll learn a lot during the first few months of generating leads. And if you can talk to the client, listen to what they have to say, and actually listen to what they want and deliver that to them, then.
And I think it's amazing. And I think one of the things that was quite overwhelming at the beginning of the course was there are so many niches that you can go for. It's almost like, wow, where do I go?
That's a problem. That's a problem. There's too much opportunity.
Yeah, what a.
Yeah. And within personal injury, for example, there's probably 20 different industries that you can generate leads in.
43 at the moment.
43.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
There's ones that you can't even imagine. Yeah, ones that you couldn't even imagine.
Really?
Yeah, which I can't talk about. Well, I could, but I won't. That the people
Really?
come, and real specialists.
Are they the same industries in the US and the UK? They similar?
Pretty broad, yeah.
Similar.
Yeah.
Of course, they're similar.
Yeah, pretty much. They do things sort of differently, but yeah, there's a lot of crossover.
Same ads. And where do you get? Where did you figure out how to write ads? What was the process for that?
Trial and error, really.
Trial and
Yeah, so short versus long.
Yeah.
And long is the flavour of the day.
Long is the flavour of the day.
Certainly, yeah, very much so.
Long copy, image ad.
Yep.
To quiz landing page.
Absolutely, a real basic landing page.
Yeah.
No fluff,
no fluff, no nothing. Just asking questions.
Absolutely. Click yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes.
Off you go.
Yeah, because the hard work is in the magic of hooking the interest
within the ad.
Yeah, and the long copy, and then the rest is getting them through as quickly as possible.
Through the funnel. Yeah.
And
that's what I say over and over again to my team in my agency and also my students is that the creative is king.
Yeah.
Okay, when things are getting bad, your prices are going up. Don't worry. So the first point of call is writing better ads. Sit down with a pencil and a bit of paper, and write ads for half a day, and then put them into their account and see what happens. Most people are more interested, the flavour of the day of funnels and funnel creators and chatbots and all that kind of crap. And they're all important, but they're not as important as creative.
They're the second level. If you don't get the first level through your name,
then what's the point?
Yeah.
So,
what we're also going to, which we haven't done yet, which we're on the verge of doing, is trying video.
Video ads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's although in our sector it's kind of a bit. I don't know how it's going to go, but
are you going to do that? Yeah. Are you going to get the solicitor in the video, or are you going to get an actor? Or
no, we're thinking of getting an actor, to sort of like kind of discuss a scenario. Yeah.
Scenario. Okay.
Yeah, the scenario of it, and see how we go with
like
that.
A case study.
Yeah, and just see how that kind of. I mean, I think the thing is, there's no need to change. Things are working, but you can't be complacent. You've got to test and sample new stuff. Otherwise, exactly. Suddenly you wake up and go, well, what happened there then? So so we're experimenting with that.
I think that's a good idea. We try and do. We have what's called a sandbox campaign in our accounts, and that's used for testing new ads, new copy, new audiences.
Yeah.
Video ads, Instagram only ads, all that type of stuff. So I think that's smart.
Yeah. You got to keep trying. You got to keep sampling. Absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, this has been great.
Yeah, it's been good, hasn't it?
It's been awesome to hear your story, mate. And
thank you.
Congratulations on all your success. And for people that are watching this, please, and if you're interested in learning about the cost per lead model and how it works, then there's a free case study. We'll put a link below this video. You can go through how it works, their exact process that Gavin has used to build this business from to a significant level after 6 months. It's worth a watch. It's free, and if you want, you go through the funnel and you want to have a chat to me about how it all works and whether it would be a good fit, then I'd love to chat to you. Speak to you later. Bye.